What's going on, card fighters? Today I'm just going to show you a deck profile deck. I don't think I have done this one, so let's put it in. First, our wide deck. Starter does starter. You can use any starter you want. You can even grab the starter from Bruce, the trial deck, and use that if you want. But we want in this grade one, once placed on Van, Soul Charge. This one, when wide upon, I think is put a card from your hand into the soul, draw a card, and Soul Charge. And then we got this one. This is our main one. So the way this does is has a bunch of rules, but once it attacks, counterblast, perform all of these following. So you can use all of these skills if you have the amount of cards in soul. So you have 5 or more cards in soul, draw a card. If you have 10 or more cards in soul, this gains 10k plus 1 crit until the end of battle. But you have 15 or more, both players put all weird guards in soul, and you call 2 of them out of your soul and gains plus 10. So obviously you want to attack with your weird guards first, then attack with Van, then call 2 cards out of the soul. I usually call this card out of the soul because it's usually a 28, and 28 is the magic number, because that's a 15 plus 5. If they don't put a defensive trigger. So that's 2 cards from their hand until we get those front triggers that gains plus 5 shield. So that's why I won. That's why I won a bunch of these cards, which you will see, because I like to use them. I do like this deck. It's a lot. I really underestimated this deck. I thought it wasn't going to be like that great, but as soon as I built it, it was actually really good. Okay, so don't forget our wide deck has to be different sleeves to our main deck. Okay, I want to run 3 more in the main deck. I don't have 4, so I'm just using Bruce. Hasn't really slowed down the deck. I haven't really done a lot of Persona wide with this deck because they're all just going the soul anyway. So you don't have to use 4, but 4 will be good because Persona wide's good. Some occasions that I do actually wide this on top. Don't forget, if you do wide it on top, it's not Persona wide because it's different names. But this deck is really quick of decking out, so sometimes I do just like to wide this and then just use his skill. You don't use Final Rush, sadly. Well, the skill will go off next turn, it does slow down the deck, but usually you have a massive hand and nothing really damage it. Well, for me, nothing really. I wanted 3 of him. Which he does is once placed, if your Vanguard is the Master, I'll get the SP one out because I pulled that out of the box, why not? So yeah, if your Vanguard's him, you get to Soul Charge 2. The other skill is an act ability. Once on rear guard, if you have 10 or more cards in soul, counterblast 2 and your front row gains 5k. I don't really use that ability, never really had to use it. But the first one good because it's Soul Charge 2. It's pretty easy to get 15 cards in soul. I usually get 10 cards in soul when I'm at grade 2. And usually when I'm at grade 3 on a normal day, I usually get like 14, bad day around 11, and good days I usually get like 16. So it's really easy to get 15 cards in soul. Now we're running 3 of him just because we got 1 in the wide deck, so that's 4 in total. Now I love this guy. I've been using him in Final Rush just because he's Soul Charge 2. So once placed on rear, counterblast and soul charge twice. So 2 cards from the top of the deck goes into soul, which is really good. And it has a good ride upon her, which I'm pretty sure I already said. Now I want in 4 of her. She's really good. When this unit attacks, soul charge. When it attacks, hits. So it doesn't have to hit the Vanguard, it can hit a rear guard. And if it does, it can soul charge. Now the other skill is, at the end of the battle, if you have 10 or more cards in soul, put this in soul and counter charge. So it's good counter charger. We do quite a few counter blasts with him and this guy and a couple other cards that you might see. So I like it. she's a good soul charger, and she does good counter charge, especially when you're against prison, just because you'll be using a lot of counter blasts, and sometimes soul, because sometimes you get so much soul that you don't actually need it. And you don't have to use his skill all the time, because don't forget, it's a cost of a counter blast. If it wasn't a cost, then you would have to use his ability all the time. This is one of the best grade 1s in the deck. I absolutely love him. So when this card is placed on Van, Soul Charge obviously, but on Rearguard, during your turn, if you have 10 or more cards in Soul, price 10. So if you call this one out, if you ride this, and you call 2 of these, it will gain price 10, because its ability, another 10 for its ability, and price 8. So there's a 28, which always is a great number. And if you persona wide, it's a 38, so that's another card they have to get rid of. Okay. I'm also running 3 of this guy. I see some people running up 4 at my community, but 3 is fine. Once placed, Soul Charge, and his active ability is Soul Blast 3, draw a card. I don't actually use that ability. I've used it once, but that's because I had like 18 cards in Soul, and I kind of needed a guarding power. But that's all. 4 PGs. Kind of want to use 4 PGs. You want to have 4 of him. I don't have 4 of him, so I'm using 1 from the trial deck, which is fine. Trial deck 1 is fine, but the one in the box is just a little bit better when you have 2 or less cards. Now, time for the order cards. 2 of the normal order cards. I actually have never used this because it always goes in my souls. So, and when I have it in my hand, it's usually discard to ride, so I actually never used it before. But once placed, counter blast. Then you soul charge 1. Then choose one of your units and it gains plus 10k until the end of the turn for every 5 cards in your soul. If you have 10 or more cards in soul, draw a card. So if you have 15 cards in the soul, it gains 10. Yeah, so it gains 10, 20, 30. Because it says 5 cards, does it? Yeah. Which is pretty good, pretty powerful actually. But I just have never get a chance to use it. Now another normal order. Soul Charge 2 once you use it. Don't forget you can only use order cards once per turn. There's plenty of times that I forget to do on my second turn, and on my grade 3 turn I draw one. It's like, oh crap, now I could have actually been 15 or more, but now I can't. So make sure you use it when you can. Soul Charging is great. Now 2 Blitz Order. If you have 5 or more cards in a soul, plus 15 to one of your units until the end of the battle. Again, I've actually never used this. It actually never has reached in my hand. It just always in the soul. Our over trigger, because we kind of need over triggers in this format, and it's a great over trigger. I was actually thinking of actually running the other over trigger from the trial deck, just because it gives both of my units 100 mil, when this one's just 100 mil and then 10k plus a crit to my Vanguard until the end of the battle. I never really see it. Most of the time it's in the soul, other times I drew it. 3 draw triggers. You can run fronts, but to me, draw triggers gets me more cards in my hand. When the new support comes, I might actually run fronts, just because an extra 5k shield when I'm a grade 3 is great. And after that, we run in 4, 8 crits. Crits are crits. Crits are great in this deck, especially because your Vanguard gains a crit, so if you drive check a crit, that's 3 damage. And that's not good. And 4 heal triggers, obviously, because you need to heal, and heal is great. So I won 4 heals, and that's pretty much with all the deck. Hope you like the deck. See you guys later.